So I was kidding. I'm going to do some extra practice from 11.9, and then I don't have to make another answer key to try to figure out how to upload it. So I'm going to go over these questions. They're a lot like the questions that are on the homework. But how do you know the difference for when you have something's already the exact same percentages and when it's going to be a little different? So these are already the exact same. It's giving you the mean and the standard deviation. So if for some reason a problem only gives you the mean and standard deviation, that means it's going to be a curve like this. The percentages are all going to be the same. You have to remember though that this tail is 0.15% and this tail over here is 0.15% also. The thing you have to remember is that this is half of it, so this should all equal 50 and this should equal 50. So this little tail should always be 0.15. So the next part is I have my standard deviation and my mean. If you can hear my dog crying, I'm sorry. So my standard or my mean right here should go right in the middle. So that would be my 78. That's an 8. My standard deviation then should be added on the right. So if I add 8 to that, that would give me 86. If I add 8 to that, I get 94. And add 8 to that, 102. And on the left, I move a standard deviation each time. So subtract 8, 62, and subtract 8. 54. So now I'm going to use these numbers to answer the questions below. So the first question is how much data is in between 70 and 94%. So here's my 70. Here's my 94. It's asking for what's in between here. So I'm going to have 34 plus 34 plus 13.5, which would be 81.5% of the data lies in between those two percentages. So what's that saying is that 81.5%, well, you can't have a 0.5, but around 81% of the people who took this test got in between 70 and 94. What percent of students are below 70? So if I look at that, here's my 70, here's 70, and how much are below? This is where you have to remember the tail. So I'll have 13.5 plus 2.35 plus 0.15, which would be equal to 13, not 13, sorry, would be equal to 16%. And the last one, how many percentage of people scored above 102? So Miss Shooting must be giving out some extra credit. So here is 102, and above that, it is just the tail. So it'd be 0.15%. So that's when I have the percentages already given to me. When I have a normal distribution curve and I only are given the mean and the standard deviation, that's when you should draw this curve and label the percentages. Now, if I have something like this. Now this one's a little bit different because of the fact it's still a normal distribution curve. However, each bar graph, each one here represents a different percentage. So like if I'm looking at this 4, so how many times heads got tossed? So 4, that would be roughly 1%. If I was looking at this 10, if I move over, would be roughly 17%, because these are the percentages over here. So even though it's still a normal distribution curve, meaning that it still has this bell curve, the percentages for each occurring outcome are not the exact same. It's based on the bar graph. So this first question, in between 7, so here's 7, and 10. So I have to add up all 4 of these bar graphs. So sorry, these lines aren't very perfect by any means. I'm holding the baby while trying to do this. If I were to add those up, that'd be 53%. So 53% of the time, you would get in between 7 to 10 heads. Now, one thing a lot of times people get like nervous about, what if your number is different than my number because you have these a little bit different? Well, you should be within like a couple percentage. You shouldn't have 38 as your answer. That would not be good. So this would be my answer for that first one. So the second one, what estimate the percent of times you toss or receive 13 or more? So here's 13 or more. So this is where I have to add all of these up. And again, that's my rough estimated. So this would be 15.5%. Okay, and these last two problems are just reviews. So I'm going to do them just because. So you can try to push pause and try to do them yourself. And then check out your answer with my answer for review. But I'm going to show this on the calculator. So again, first you would go to Stat. And then you would on the edit, you would put in all this information. And then you can go back to Stat, arrow over to Calculate. You want your one variable statistics. Keep on pushing enter until you get that. And I have my mean is right here, so it'd be 20.38. My median would be 20. Here are my information to do my box and whisker plot. And then my other question was, my standard deviation, right here, 2.32. My mode, I'm going to figure that out. So I don't think I showed this before, but we're going to go to Stats, and we're going to go to Sort A and push Enter. And you're going to do your L1. So my L1 on my calculator is right above the 1. So I'm going to go to second 1, push Enter. Says done. What does that mean? I'm going to go back over to Stat and Edit. And this is actually going to be really nice for my last question too. Now this is all in order. So now I can look through these. Okay, 19 shows up 1, 2, 3, 4. 20 shows up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 20 is going to be my mode. Let's check 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. Okay, the other question, the very last question that I have is what is the 75th percentile? And I already figured out that I'm looking for my 20th number right here because I did 26 because there's a total of 26 problems times by the percent 19.5. So I'm looking for my 20th number. If I went on my calculator that I already went, my 20th number would be number 22. So 22 would be my 20th percentile. And there you have it. Bing, bada, boom. Have a great day.